Hi! The last episode of this that we did was 2 years ago, and we finished it by saying we'll probably make another one of these videos in about 6 months. It's been 2 years. Whoops. A lot has changed since then. We've done a lot with our bands, so we're going to talk about that. That's the point of the series. We're going to start with Joe, because your journey's more interesting, I guess.
If you can call it more interesting, yeah. So essentially, my band is inactive. We haven't done anything for about a year and a half now. It was November 2017 that we last had a gig, and since then we were planning and we were making ideas of how we were going to progress the band, and none of that kind of happened, and it all kind of tailed off a little bit last year. And I think one of the reasons for me for that is that my personal taste in music and the music that I enjoy making has severely changed since then. Back then, I got a lot of satisfaction out of writing very heavy, very dirty, very angry music, and that just doesn't resonate with me anymore. Like, when I hear a song that has, I don't know, a heavy song, I kind of get a bit of... Because I'm cynical, I think, oh, they're just using the heavy sound to compensate for lack of genuine emotion, which is, I get, a really cynical way of looking at it, and probably isn't the case for a vast majority of bands. But maybe subconsciously I'm thinking that because that's what I was doing in my music. I don't know. Point is, my band is inactive. Whether we get up and running again and do things is a matter for debate. If we do get back up and running again, it will be doing significantly different music, so it may as well be a new band anyway.
Yeah, and we've had this discussion before, haven't we, a few times, where we're talking about, like, if you did change your sound a lot, should you change the name, should you not? So we'll not do that discussion here, but we have talked about it before, because I think it's a really interesting thing. It's worth saying, if you want to listen to the music Joe's band did do, or any of my band stuff, I'll link in the description and the little eye thing that will be up there. With Salamander, obviously last time we talked here, you had done a song and launched, and we were getting ready for the gig. The gig went incredibly well. We sold it out. Then you went on to do... Yeah, it was really, really cool. It was like, I think the venue says that it's like 80 capacity, and we were like, oh, we can probably push that to 100, and then we filled like 120 people in.
Halfway through the gig, when you were on, some people showed up at the door and was like, oh, can we come in? And you just went, yeah, bring them in. And we pushed even more people in. So
yeah, it was good. It was really, really fun. And probably the most rewarding gig that I've ever done.
I think part of that comes from the fact that me and you sort of organised it, and we planned everything, and we did everything towards it, and it went really well.
Yeah.
Which, it's worth saying that is the only gig that we together have organised between us, and it is the best one that we ever did.
That's true. We should do that more often then, obviously. So then you went on to do a few more tracks.
I did 2 more singles. We did 2 more singles, so by the time November 2017 rolled around, we had 3 singles out. We had another gig at another small venue in Sheffield in November 2017. That went really well as well. It wasn't like as packed, but it was a much smaller venue, and there was a relatively good amount of people there to say that it was like a Thursday night. So that went really well. We enjoyed that, and then after that we just kind of started making all these plans. Oh yeah, we'll do this. We had a song recorded that we hadn't released yet, and we went through the process of mixing that, and me and Tom, the guitarist, as we went through the process of mixing and re-listening to all the songs we did, we sort of thought, this isn't really what we want to be putting out. Like the new single we wrote, at the time, it was probably one of my favourite songs that we'd written as the band. It was far more aggressive and angry than anything we'd written before, and if I was in that same mindset now, I would probably really like it, but because my personal music tastes have moved on a little bit, and that kind of music just doesn't do it for me in the same way that it used to, that song became not something that I felt that would be good to put out. So then we were discussing, what new influences are we going to have? What direction are we going to take this band? And from there, I don't know, I just sort of fell off the wagon with it a little bit. We didn't keep talking about that process. We didn't really do anything, and it just sort of fizzled out. I don't know, it was strange that we took it seriously for like that year. We did it intensely, and we were starting to gather, not momentum, but that starting thing, bit of buzz that you have. We were starting to get that, and then we just sort of thought, no, this isn't really for us anymore. So as I said, if we do start again, it will be under a different style of music, and whether that will be under a different name, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't tell the future, but we'll see.
So with the Dogmatic stuff, where we left off, we were arranging the gig. We had launched the band 3-4 months earlier than the last episode. So we did our very first single, which was also called Dogmatic. The song name came before the band name. We released that and it went incredibly well. I don't know what kind of views and stuff the video got when we shot episode 2, but by now, I think it's on something like 16,000 views. Funny story with that. It went viral on an Indonesian subreddit. And it was on about 5,000-6,000 views at the time anyway, which was incredible for... We only had one single out and it was getting thousands and thousands of views, which is always really cool. And then it was a Friday night, because I remember getting up on the Saturday and looking on the Creator Studio app, which is an app that you can get to check views and stuff on YouTube without actually going on the YouTube app. And the view count was like 12,000, 13,000 views. And sometimes we've had this with Music Lab, sometimes it'll glitch. We once went up about 10,000 subscribers overnight on Music Lab, and then within an hour it's back down because it's just a glitch and YouTube works it out. So I thought, this will be a glitch, it'll be, not normal, it'll be just summit. And then after a few hours I kept checking it and it wasn't moving. So I checked the proper analytics and it was like, oh yeah, you've had 6,000 views overnight from Indonesia. Okay. So I checked the source, like where all the people are coming from in terms of have they clicked a link? Was it through a direct message? Was it through the search function of YouTube? And they'd all come from Reddit. So I went onto Reddit and searched for the link, search for like the video link to pull up any posts that might contain it, and it was empty, completely gone. There was no post on Reddit that linked to our video. Could have been a short link, but the actual link itself didn't exist on Reddit. So I still don't know what happened. I don't know why we got 6,000 views overnight from Indonesia.
I like to think some Indonesian celebrity or something just happened across your music video and then posted it on their Reddit or whatever and thought, this is quite good, isn't it? And then all their adoring fans kind of rushed to it and there you are.
I mean, maybe, but we didn't... None of them commented. We had like 0 comments, but the amount of likes had pretty much doubled as well. So ratio-wise, that works out that they were real people because it's roughly the same amount of people liked it compared to didn't touch the like or dislike. But none of them commented, so I have no idea who these people are. None of our social medias necessarily went up. Super bizarre. That single that came out actually was our only single for like 2 years, which I'm not happy about, to be fair. We shouldn't have left it 2 years. But to give you, I guess, the chronology of what actually happened. So we made that video, we did the gig, it was really good, and then we thought, well, let's not record like an EP or some more singles or whatever, let's start by recording a live session. So we did some live sessions. We recorded 4 tracks, and it was on like the hottest day of summer. It was just the worst experience in terms of just being in that room, because, and you'll see it on some of the live sessions, I think Cold Sweats was one of the last ones that we did, and I am just dripping with sweat. We're not moving very much because we're trying to just stay as cool as possible. And we only ended up releasing 3 of those tracks that were recorded. They're all on like the Dogmatic YouTube channel. And we released them over the course of that half a year. I think we recorded them in like June or July, and we released them from July until about December. We never released the 4th one because it's a song that recently we've decided to maybe drop, because it's a song that I honestly am bad at singing. It's in E, which is already a bad start, and it's just, I'm not good at singing it at all.
What song was that?
Dysthemia, which is really annoying.
But that was a really good riff. Why don't you just drop it down 2 keys?
Well, we think because I suppose. But we're on about maybe keeping that riff and working it into a different song or something, because it's a really cool riff.
That was one of the songs that existed when I was briefly part of Lenny's band, like however long ago that was.
Probably 3 years.
I remember the day that Dylan, the bassist, brought the riff to practice, and we were all kind of like, that's a really fucking good riff, let's write a song with that. And we wrote a song with that, and it was good.
It was, and yeah, I'm still iffy about that song. It's the one song in the set that I think is the worst. But
Is that because of the chorus that I wrote that you're not happy with?
It's because of the chorus lyrics, as far as I'm concerned, because it's not catchy, it's not got a good hook, it needs a rework, and at some point maybe we'll do that. Don't know. It like your band, it is currently in limbo as to what's going to happen with it. So we recorded that in the live session and never released it. So we had 3 tracks. We recorded Book, which was then going to be our second single. We recorded Downward Spirals, which is, I guess you could call it like a ballady song. It's not a ballad whatsoever. It's a bit downbeat, and then it hits really hard, and then it goes downbeat again. Then it hits really hard, and it's got a bit more dynamic than any of the other tracks. And then we did Cold Sweats, which started out as kind of like a more surf punk style thing. It's not really, but it's closer to that than any of the other tracks. So we released them, and that took us to like the end of 2017. So we went into 2018 writing some new music. We're still in the mindset of most of the songs that we write, we drop. We only keep a song if it's absolutely better than all the other tracks in the set. If it's not up to scratch with any of the other tracks in the set, it doesn't make it. So we wrote a lot of songs, but you will notice we did a gig recently. Most of the songs are still songs that were in the set list from 2 years ago when we did the debut gig, because we only replace stuff when it's actually better.
I think my band and your band had a very different process when it came to writing.
Maybe.
So you obviously do the thing that we recommend, which is write a load of songs and sift through those to pick the best. Mm-hmm. We never got to that process, because if we were writing something and even one of us weren't so slightly sure about it, we would drop the thing entirely. We wouldn't... If we were writing a song that we felt to be not as good as it could be, we wouldn't bother finishing the song, we would just start again.
I mean, we don't finish those songs, to be fair. Instrumentally we will, because the songwriting process with Dogmatic is completely different to anything else that I've done with any other songwriter. Whether I'm writing a song with you, whether I'm writing a song on my own, whether I'm writing a song with Matt, who I'll talk about in a bit. The songwriting there, we tend to we'll write a section, kind of work on it, maybe write the next section, work on it and whatever. With Dogmatic, we will start with the riff, start with the drum beat, jam for like 10 minutes, and then at the end of that 10 minutes kind of pick out the sections that were like, okay, that was really good there, liked it when we did that, that's bollocks, we'll not keep that. And then from that we kind of jigsaw together what the song might sound like, play that, and then go, okay, so it needs a bridge there instead of what we're doing. Where we start with that, we should actually probably start with this, and then we play it again, and it's like that will be the finished song. We'll do kind of like 3 passes.
So you do the same with individual songs as you do with your entire set then? You write a load of sections and then pick the best of those to make the song? You write a load of songs and pick the best of those to become the set?
Kind of, yeah, I guess. I've never thought about it like that, but yeah. So a lot of stuff that we will do, and you'll notice this as we release more and more music, is the songs aren't overly complex with the sections. It's something that we've kind of talked about a lot in terms of not just doing verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. With Dogmatic, a lot of the songs are verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, or some variation of that. A song that should be not coming out next, but coming out after that, is essentially verse, chorus, end. It doesn't have a bridge, it doesn't necessarily change at any point, it's just a verse and a chorus, and they just kind of A-B between them a few times. That is because the way that we write the songs, we aren't necessarily putting thought into where they should go. We're putting feeling into where it should go.
Aww.
We will physically jam, and Ellis will do a fill, and we'll be like, right, next section, and we'll just start playing something. What John plays on bass and what I play on guitar won't be the same thing. It won't be in tune. One of us will go, oh, that's better than mine. Look at what they're doing on the fretboard, try and copy it, and then by the next time it comes around, you've kind of got what it might be. After 15 minutes of doing that and not stopping, you've kind of got a gist on what everyone's doing and whatever, which lends itself to a more simpler structure, because you haven't discussed it before and you've not gone, okay, we're going to do a 4-bar section here that's completely different in a different key, we're going to modulate, because we aren't having those conversations, we aren't verbally writing the songs until afterwards. The little stuff that you might see in some of the songs where it's like, oh, well, you can't have just jammed that, that's a really tight bizarre bit, that will have come in one of either the second pass or the third pass. But generally after the third pass, I write lyrics to it and then it's done. But when we're on about kind of dropping songs because they aren't good enough, we'll get to that third pass and then the lyrics will never be written for the songs that aren't good enough. So they never get finished, but it's not really much effort for us to instrumentally finish a song anyway.
So what you're saying is you would always judge your song's merit based on the instrumental before lyrics?
Kind of, because lyrics that you're going to put onto stuff anyway, if you write a really good melody, you could put that over many different instrumentals anyway. So if the instrumental's not good enough, we shouldn't save it with a good vocal. We should get a good instrumental and then put the good vocal over that, if that makes sense. And because I always write lyrics last and write the vocals last, it doesn't matter, if that makes sense, because we aren't losing a great vocal because it's never been written.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and it's a lot less time consuming to do that because lyrics, from my perspective, take way longer than the instrumentals do, especially for Dogmatic because of the way that we write. So we can write a lot of songs and it's not hindering us time-wise. Every rehearsal, we will aim to, by the end of the rehearsal, to have finished a song. We will write one song per rehearsal. And generally we'll get a phone and record it. So somewhere, I think Ellis normally records it. He's probably got a log of like hundreds of like just MP3 files that's just us in a practice room playing songs. Sometimes we'll come to the next rehearsal and be like, we need to play that we wrote last week. Sometimes we'll just never mention it. And that's just assumed that it was never good enough for us to mention. So we did that a lot and went into 2018 doing that. We also decided we were going to do a cover and we were going to take a song that was nowhere near the style of music that we do and turn it into that, which I guess is the best way to do a cover if you're ever going to do one. So we chose Common People by Pulp. So with them being from Sheffield, it kind of helps. I mean, it doesn't really help, but it kind of helps in that we can say we're doing this cover because they're another Sheffield band and we want to kind of revitalise the song. So we've done that. When this video goes out, it won't be released yet, but it will be in a few weeks, hopefully. We've got the mixes done. We're waiting on mastering. We've shot the video. We're waiting on approving a final edit of the video. We're going to try and get it out quite quickly. So I guess we kind of want it to live or die on social media. So we're not going to do promoting for it. We're not going to do anything other than try and get it out on social media. And hopefully people will like it.
I suppose then it's more social media content than it is a release as such.
Yeah, and with it being a cover, I'm not expecting many like professionals to be that interested in it because it is a cover and that's fine. Our version of it is completely different from the original, but that doesn't make it not a cover.
Are you putting it on Spotify?
Yeah, we'll be fully releasing it. Actually talking about when this was, when we were writing this, was like a year ago now, so 2018. So we didn't really do much going from the first 6 months of 2018. We had done one extra gig, like a smaller gig after the debut gig, like a month after. And then it was about a year after before we arranged anything else. So we got offered a support slot with a local act who is incredibly popular. He's a teacher. It's a place called Red Tape that does like apprenticeships for music. And he sold out a show and was like, oh, do you want to support? Because Ellis and John were both students of his at Red Tape. So we said, yeah, I want to support. So we ended up playing a gig in front of like 150, 200 people, which was quite nice. The most nervous I've ever been on stage.
Why?
I don't know. I'd say it's because I had a year of not being on stage, but the debut gig that we did, it was even longer before that. So I don't know. I was incredibly nervous. I feel like I was really bad. There's no footage of it. I can't check whether that was just me being insecure or whether I actually was bad. I don't know. The week after that was Tramlines Festival in Sheffield, which is our only festival. We were playing a stage at that. We were playing like a pub, but playing Tramlines is playing Tramlines. So
Tramlines Fringe.
Tramlines Fringe, yeah. Well, it used to be Tramlines was an inner city festival. It's now a closed field festival, if you like, so the Fringe is now fully separate. So we played the Tramlines Fringe, and went really well. We like packed out a very small pub, and it was kind of cool, and it was a really nice experience. We then arranged a gig ourselves again at a slightly bigger venue than what we did for September, October, maybe. I don't remember what month it was. Either September or October, I think, of 2018. And we got a band that we were working with at the record label and Kicker to support a band called Dharma, who are really, really good. Kind of grungy, like if Nirvana had a better vocalist. And then we got a friend of Ellis's to open up. So we had like a 3-band lineup, and I think the capacity for the venue was like 150. We got like about 100 people in, I think. So we didn't sell it out. We didn't do anything that was, oh wow, fantastic or whatever. But we proved to ourselves that we can sell more tickets than we did a year ago. Well, a year and a half ago at that point. So I kind of wish we'd have done it in a smaller venue because we could have sold it out again. We did it in a bigger venue and didn't sell it out, which obviously it looks worse even though it's the same amount of people. It doesn't really matter. So we did that, went really well. It was technically our first proper headlining gig because obviously you sold more tickets slightly for the debut gig, so you went on last. So you were technically headlining that debut gig even though it was supposed to be co-headlining it. You went on last. So we did that. At that point, it had been like a year and 3/4 from us releasing our debut single, and we hadn't put another song out properly. We'd done the live sessions nearly a year earlier, but we hadn't done another song. So we're like, right, okay. So we'd had some recordings done in July, roughly. And we'd done drum tracks, just drum tracks at this point, for 7 songs? Yeah, I think about 7 songs. Common people being involved in that, Book, which we'd already done for the live session, a track called 27 Club, and a few others. So we were like, okay, we need to like record the rest of the stuff for this. So we put bass down for Book, we put guitars down for Book, and we put vocals down for Book over the course of a few months, completely DIY, just doing it ourselves any way that we could, and then started mixing it and working on it. It took a lot of mixes. We did many mixes, and it was getting later and later in the year, and we just needed to get it done, but we worked on it so much. We decided to shoot a video. Again, we didn't have like any money. We got the drum tracks recorded for free at Red Tape because we knew a tutor there. All the other stuff we recorded ourselves, so we didn't really have any money for videos. I'm okay at video production, but we don't have money for a location or actors or whatever, so we were like, okay, we've got a practice room, let's film in there again. We shot Dogmatic, the first single that we did, in the practice room with like a blue screen, so let's not do that, let's shoot a performance video and just set the camera up in the corner of the room. It worked pretty well. It's not like we need necessarily high production, we're not like a pop artist, so it doesn't really matter. And then we ended up releasing that November? I think it was nearly exactly 2 years from the first single. I'll say it went well. It didn't have the hype and the buzz that the first single had, but it was never gonna, because the first single went really well because I'd been doing the band loading campaign on Twitter for like a year at that point. So there was a lot of people that was aware that a band was gonna be coming from this account. You just didn't know what. So when it did launch, everyone jumped on the video to see what it was. Obviously with Music Lab, I could make a video that was like, Lenny's now got a new band or whatever, and you guys all jumped over and had a listen. So the initial burst for the first single was bigger than it was for the second, obviously. So Book was nicely received by everyone who had stuck around, who had gone, oh yeah, I do like this. So we got like from a few thousand listens initially for the first single, we got a few hundred listens for the second, which means that there's a few hundred people who kind of stuck around for 2 years without any content and were still interested enough to click. That's fine, that's good. It's not the definition of success by any means, but it was a showing that there's people there that are interested. Cool. So that was the most recent video that we've done, the most recent song that we've released, and it's now, 4 or 5 months later? So we've got 2 more songs in the pipelines that should be releasing really soon. We have Common People and 27 Club, which were the 2 that I mentioned that we'd done drum tracks for nearly a year ago at this point. All the other songs were either not good enough in terms of they were earlier versions of the songs that we'd done, so Ellis's performance on the drums weren't as good as he could do now, or they're just songs that have been dropped, or they're songs that have changed too much to use the drum track for. So we only really have these 3 tracks from those, say, 7 that were recorded. So Common People should be coming up really, really soon. We shot a video for it recently where we got as many people as we could in our little practice room, because we're now getting rid of it, which I'll talk about again in a second. We're getting rid of the practice room, so we shot a little music video in there with people in and whatever. And then we're going to do 27 Club at some point. As to what, it's not really been decided on, like a music video or a date or anything. We're hoping that Common People will be May, which is obviously this month, so it might end up rolling over to June. It doesn't really matter because, as I said, we're only going to be putting it on social media and stuff, so it doesn't need a massive campaign around it. So that's kind of caught up as to where we are. The thing leading into the future for me with Dogmatic is that we're getting rid of the practice studio. We've had it since we launched as a band, like launched, not when we started creating it, when you were in it, we just got hired a room for, a few hours or whatever, which is probably what you're doing with your bands, but we decided that we wanted a permanent space. We've now got rid of that. There's kind of 2 reasons why we've got rid. The first is Ellis has moved to Northern Ireland, so it means that we can't meet every single week, so it's pointless paying a lot of money for a room that we're only going to use once every few months, so we're not going to pay for it. Also, we've decided that all the money that we've been using to pay for it, we should reinvest in the band itself as opposed to just paying for a room, because it's £250 per month for a room, which is pretty good pricing to have,
considering where it is as well.
It's got good access, 24 hours, it's in a nice area with space, it's quite a large room, it's not like a room cupboard. It did as well, and we valued it at £250. Like, it was worth its money, but now it's not because we aren't using it as much. So we're going to use the £250. Some of it's going to go to storage because we need still some space to store all of our stuff because we've got so much. But it means that whatever's left over, we can actually invest into the band. We can pay for promotion. We can pay for proper recordings at studios if we want to. I mean, that's a conversation that we need to have, I guess, because we have been doing everything DIY and we try and keep it DIY. So if we want to keep doing that, maybe we will. Don't know, it's a conversation that I need to have with the band. Yeah, we can use that money for whatever we want. So the hope is that maybe in a year's time, we'll do another one of these videos and I'll be able to catch you up on whether it was beneficial. Was it worth putting money into the band every single month and paying for stuff? Or would we have just been best off doing the scrape together whatever we can method? I assume it's going to benefit us being able to pay for stuff. You would assume that it will actually work. It might not. It might just be a case of, well, people will listen to your music irrelevant of how much money you're paying for videos or for whatever. The only thing I can think that will really benefit us is promotion, is actually paying for sponsored posts on social media or maybe PR and plugin.
But if you have more money to invest in your product itself, like your videos and stuff, then more people are likely to watch it if it's better quality.
That's true, yeah, we'll see. I don't want to talk too much about that because it's something that I don't know what we're going to do with the money yet, but I'll probably do a video in a year's time or whatever, telling you whether it worked or whether it didn't work, and I'll try and document as much as I can throughout that process so I can actually show you what we did. The only other thing, in terms of our bands, is that I'm starting a new project-ish. And only-ish because it's in such an early stage that I can't really tell you much about it because it doesn't necessarily exist yet. So, back in the day, and you'll be able to see this in our, I think our 100th video, we did a video where we looked over every song that we've ever written together, and we looked at all of our old band stuff. In our old band, the final version of it before we changed its name was me, Joe, and one other person called Matt. If I can find some footage of him, this is what he looks like. So me and Matt have recently started writing music together again, because he moved down to London for a few years, so we didn't really speak all that much. And then when he moved back up, started like seeing each other again, and then started writing some music. And then we were like, okay, why don't we just try and get a band or something together? So we started writing music. We've kind of got a style. We're looking for a lot of members, and we don't have them yet. So the idea behind the band, I'll just give you the idea of the band as opposed to anything else. The idea behind it is that we kind of want a band that's more ensemble-like ish, full of energy, lots of people. I say lots, 5, 6 is kind of where we're heading. So it's that kind of it's the bigger band sound. Kind of want 2 guitars, bass, vocalist, drummer, and keyboards / percussion / everyone can do a bit of percussion if they're not playing something else. You know, like, oh, you don't play guitar for the verse, pick up a tambourine kind of thing. We kind of want it to be like incredibly fun live show wise, and be not just it's 3 people standing playing some like punk music and then it stops. I want it to feel more like a show, a party, or whatever. So the best I can relate it, and it's unlikely that you will have experienced this if you can do, but at the height of what I assume I Set the Sea on Fire want to be, that kind of artist where it's like there's a lot of things going on and it's everyone's having fun and it's closer to a party on stage than it is a show. Than it is a gig, I guess. And it's that's the idea. We've started writing some music. We've written lots of different styles, kind of working out what will work best. We think we've settled on something. We might have got a member to sing. In terms of other instruments, we're not there yet. So we're incredibly early stages. You might not hear about this for a few years. You might hear about this in a few months, depending on how it goes. Don't know, but I want to tell you about it because that's the point of this series, is to kind of document where we are with stuff. Incredibly early stages with a new band. Dogmatic's going well, we're hoping to ramp it up a bit. Salamander's on hiatus. So that's that, I guess. If you want to see any of the other episodes of this, I'll link episode 1 and episode 2 on the screen. So you'll listen to it backwards, but they're there. Cool. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you next Saturday.
Bye-bye.